I'm recording this message on Saturday, so this is the day before we have the third Sunday of Lent, and a lot of things have happened. This is not my homily. I will try to do that maybe tonight, tomorrow. I'm going to do it when I can. I'm running a little behind today. This has been a very, very intense week. And so, as many of you know, for the first time, I think in any of our lifetimes, we've had a situation where our bishop, as well as the Pope in Rome, had decreed in their own diocese that the Mass is canceled, indefinitely, and all the Masses are canceled indefinitely. And so what that means is that the most important thing that we have, the Eucharist, is not available. It's not on Sunday, and normally it's obligatory, it's mandatory. We expect our people, we do anything we can to get our people to put God first, especially on Sunday, right? And now we can't even do that. There's been a whole variety of emotions that has surrounded this, from just confusion. It's like, how is this possible? Can the bishop do that? Can he just cancel Mass, right? All the way to some pretty serious anger. How dare he do this? And I've heard people say, and I understand this, in a moment of emotion, express that anger in some pretty unchristian ways. So I want to talk just a little bit about my own perspective. When I first heard it, I was just in shock that we were not going to be allowed to have Mass. And as I think about it and I understand the intent behind it, it makes sense. But just the shock of it, I didn't know how to process. Honestly, what I felt like for about 2 days, I felt like somebody in my family or a loved one just died. I felt just like I couldn't believe it. Praying a lot, thinking a lot about it, I've come to a couple conclusions. So, one of the things that we have to remember, which we don't always remember, is that the bishop is our link back to the apostles, right? He's our link back to the apostles, therefore he is our link back to Christ. And he has absolute authority in his diocese to make decisions such as this one. Now, is he saying that the virus is more powerful than even the sacraments? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, right? Is he saying that we as Catholics must be willing to make a sacrifice for the common good, even if it means fasting from the Eucharist? He's saying that. And as sad as that is, and I just mean sad as in the emotions of it, how it breaks our heart, to realize that there is a role for us in this world, in some ways to be weak, to die for the sake of others, even if it means at some point giving up our greatest gift temporarily, so that we can demonstrate to the world a willingness to take the initiative to say, we're going to do our part to try to take care of each other. It's a form of love of neighbor, right? Now, some people, this gets very political very quickly. Some people think that it's hysteria, et cetera, and there's always hysteria mixed in with it. All you have to do is read what people do with the toilet paper, right? And you realize, okay, there's a level of hysteria here. It just makes no sense. Don't get me off on that path. Fasting. Now, let's think about this for a moment. If there ever was a good time for God to do something really drastic. Now, we all as Catholics know that our world is really struggling in its faith, right? We know things are broken in so many ways. We know that as Catholics generally are taking the sacraments for granted. They blow it off on Sunday because something else is more important. Anything else is more important. And it's almost like God is saying, let's do something to wake people up, right? I wonder if there's something here that's happening that could actually bring about a great good. Not the virus, it's horrible, it's bad, but what God may try to do through all of us in the midst of what this thing is, right? In the midst of what's going on. There is no greater fast during Lent. If you really think about it, there's no greater sacrifice you could make than being told that you have to give up the Eucharist. And for people who do it all the time for stupid reasons, right? Maybe it's going to cause them to think. Maybe, maybe not. But I know it's causing a lot of people to feel something, to feel an emotion around the Eucharist, which I honestly have to say, when I would talk about the Eucharist to people, their eyes would just kind of glaze over. You talk about the beauty of it, and it's like, yeah, Father, we've heard that over and over and over, but now they can't have it. So maybe there's something really powerful here. Fasting does that, right? This Lent, I've tried to fast in other ways, right? Wednesdays and Fridays. And those days when I feel hunger, I start honestly thinking about breaking my fast because I desire food. And so I wonder if this fast of the Eucharist can create in people a more intense desire for Jesus. So we won't take it so for granted. I think there's something very powerful here that's happening. I think it's also important for us to remember that the Eucharist is not a rite. It's a gift. And it's always a gift. And we often forget that. I forget that. I don't have a right as a priest. I don't have a right to celebrate the sacraments for you. It's a gift. It's an honor. And the bishop bestows it upon me and all my brother priests, and then we bestow it on the people. But it is a gift. It's not a right, right? And I think it's good to remember that. I think this Eucharistic fast is going to help teach us a little more humility. This is not the time for anger, okay? As I've been praying about this, I've also thought, if my people can't have the Eucharist, I should join them in that fast. But I can't, right? Now, in canon law, a priest is encouraged to celebrate Mass every day. As far as I can remember, and maybe I'm mistaken because I haven't gone back and read it in a while, it's not mandated that we celebrate Mass every day. A lot of people think it is. However, our Archbishop, in his video presentation of the news that we're canceling all the Masses, he says that priests are required to celebrate Mass. And so whether or not it's in canon law, I'm taking that as it's a requirement for me during this time to celebrate Mass every day. Now, there's a conflict in my feelings because I feel like being forced to do that, I'm not fasting. I'm putting myself above the people. I get to indulge, if you will, in the Eucharist, and my people can't. They have to fast. And so it makes me feel uncomfortable that they're hungry for Jesus, and I'm not allowed to give it to them, but I can have it. I feel like a hypocrite, right? And so for me, in some ways, as I'm celebrating Mass, and as I'm praying for everyone and praying for you all, it makes me feel uneasy. And I think that then becomes my sacrifice. I'm not getting to do what would make me feel better, which is to participate with my family, my parish, in that fast. But I can't because I'm obligated. And so Lent then brings on a double burden or a double weight because of that. I watch my people not be able to have the Eucharist, but I get to have it. And so just carrying that weight of feeling like a hypocrite. Good Lenten sacrifice, right? To learn humility. Now, I want to offer just a couple thoughts. Again, this is not a homily, right? This is just a little update. What do you do on Sunday? So there's no Mass now. What do you do? Well, on our website, and I'm going to try and remember and put a link on the video in the description. I may remember, I may not remember. My brain's not really working very well right now, but I'm going to try to remember to put a link to our website. On the front of our website, there's a box in the top left-hand corner that says resources, right? You just click on that, and then it opens a page with a bunch of resources. So one of them is our Archbishop is going to be live streaming his Mass on Facebook on Sunday. I think it's at 10 o'clock. In Spanish, Bishop Eusebio is going to live stream his Mass later in the day. I think it was noon or 1. You can go on the website and look on Facebook. And then I think they'll record them, and then you can watch them after that at any time. I think it would be good, given the situation, to watch the Mass with the Archbishop. People have been asking me if I'm going to live stream a Mass. I need to look into it. I figured out how to do it in Facebook. But I'm going to let you go and watch the Archbishop. He's our number one shepherd. I am his deputy, right? But I think this is a good time to go to the shepherd, okay, the head shepherd. So to watch his Mass. So here's what I would say. There's a couple options, but definitely watch the Mass somewhere on TV or on the internet. I think you really should do that. There's not really a reason to not do that, unless you don't have TV and you don't have the internet. On cable TV, there's EWTN in English and Spanish, 2 different channels. On satellite, I think it's just English. Maybe it's English and Spanish. But EWTN has Masses during the day. Or you could go online and you could find, I'm sure, many different Masses. But go to our Archbishop, Archbishop Paul Aitchen, right? So the link's on the website to be able to do that, all right? So I think that's really a good thing. So that's one thing to do on Sunday when we can't participate in the Mass. The second thing is to come to church. Now, just come into the church. Come and spend time with Jesus. He's here in the Eucharist. He's in the tabernacle. Just come and sit with him. Bring your family. Just have some quiet time with him. You can do the Stations of the Cross. We put out a bunch of booklets in English, or just pieces of paper with the stations on it, so you could pray the stations. We printed up a bunch of copies of the Sunday readings, so you can come and just meditate on the readings. You'll hear them in the Masses when you watch it, but you can come to church, just meditate on it, sit with Jesus for a while. Now, what I'm going to do, because this is so awkward for us as priests, what do? Well, I made a decision. I'm going to expose the Blessed Sacrament. So we're going to bring Jesus out up on the monstrance, right, on the altar. So you can come and pray. And I'm going to start that at 7:30 in the morning. And then I'm going to have it go to 12:30 in the afternoon, or whenever. I'm going to hear confessions during that time, okay? I was hearing confessions today in the morning. I'll hear confessions tomorrow. Now, so during that time, I'm just going to sit in the reconciliation room, in the cry room, and be able to hear confessions while people can come in and pray. Okay? The church will be open during that time. If you'd like to come in at any other time, get the combination from us. We have the code for the door so that you can come in and pray anytime you want. Okay? Don't get the code from another parishioner. Come to the office and get it, or talk to me or someone, right? Okay? All right. So I'm going to spend a lot of time in that confessional. As long as we don't have Mass, I'm here for confessions. I'm going to spend hours, okay? So tomorrow, we got a number of hours available. Come in the church. Just sit down for a while. Just sit with Jesus, okay? All right. The other thing is, I'm going to hear confessions on Tuesdays from 4 to 7, Thursdays from 4 to 7, Saturdays from 10 to 12, and then Sundays from 7:30 to 12:30. Okay? Plenty of time for confession. Or if, again, you might want to come and maybe you just have some spiritual direction things, some really short spiritual direction things, you just want to ask a question. I'm going to spend a lot of time in that room for you all, okay? I think this can be a good thing. We can turn this into a really good thing. I have a priest friend I was talking to who's in a different diocese. He's in Idaho, and they're starting to kind of clamp down on things. They're making all the changes we made last week, right? With not offering the precious blood and no shaking hands and all that kind of stuff. So that's where they're at. But when he first called me up, he says, so you're not doing anything, huh? Like I could just go sit on a beach. And this week has been the craziest week I've had in a long time. Because I have to rethink, we here, the staff and person, we have to rethink how we communicate. Because I took it for granted. On Sunday, I had everybody here. And so I could put it in the bulletin, I could say it in my homilies, I could say it after Mass. And most everybody who's coming or who's interested would hear it. And now I don't have any of that. So we've been trying to put everything down on paper, put it on the website, trying to build up our communication. We put together a team of parishioners, probably about 50 parishioners, to call every single registered household we had, just to check in on them, just to let them know what's going on. And I just want to say thank you so much. I gave them basically 24 hours to do it, and they were awesome. So thank you for doing that. Again, just going to refer you to our website. We're going to really focus on that to make connections there. My YouTube channel, I'm not only going to put my Sunday homilies, I hate to obligate myself because I hate to fail at doing it then. I think I'm going to put my daily Mass homilies online also, okay? I'll try to keep them really short. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to say today, or at least in this video, all right? So God bless, and take this Lenten fast and just run with it. Allow your faith to go deeper. Allow yourself to be humbled by this sacrifice and see just how God can work through that grace. All right, God bless you.